Welcome back, baddies, to Baddies Mean Business. I'm your host, Riley Jennings, and this is the podcast where we share a waterfall of wisdom for women, by women, or for the girlies. And so I'm bringing on my friend Tiffany over here, Tiffany Gill. Tiffany is the founder of Shezza. You're like, what, Swimsuit USA? Your resume is long, but she's amazing, and I just wanted to share her with you guys. And today we're just going to talk about her life, developing Shezza from college. We went to college together at San Diego State University. And then also she was a nomad. She was a digital nomad for what, years?
Pretty much like all of last year and then part of the other year. But I've been nomading for probably the last, exactly 2 years.
And you're actually my inspiration for this because you're like the closest friend I know that actually did the thing, had a lot to do, and still was able to do nomadic life. And it looked like you flawlessly. And so we're gonna talk all about that. But anyways, you want to kind of like share more about yourself, just so for people who may not know you.
Well, thank you, Riley, for bringing me on. I'm Tiffany. I grew up in Orange County. I've always been a beach girl all my life, and I've always known that I wanted to go into business because both of my parents are small business owners. And growing up, it's always been very inspiring to see they worked very, very hard, but they also called all the shots and were the ultimate decision makers. And that's what I always aspired to be too, a decision maker, and just create something of my own.
What did they do? What was their businesses?
Yeah, so my mom, she used to have her own barber shop, and then my dad, he still has his own auto body shop.
Oh, nice. My mom was had her own salon.
Yeah.
I just had her on, and my dad was in construction.
Oh, very cool.
We love our parents who teach us entrepreneurship a little bit.
Yes.
And then tell a little bit about Shezza.
Yes. So I am the creator of Shezza. I started this business based off of a problem that I experienced. So when I was in high school, I asked my dad, please, Dad, for Christmas, I really want a pair of Doc Marten boots. They're the cute leather boots that everybody's wearing. They're so fashionable. They go with every outfit, and they'll basically last you a whole entire lifetime as well. They're just hard as steel. And I said, please, 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 Dad, I really want them. And so then for Christmas, he got them for me, and I was so excited. I couldn't wait to wear them my first day back at school after winter break. But when I was wearing them around school that first day, I started to get really, really terrible, painful, bloody blisters on the back of my heels. And every time I would wear these shoes, I would get these really painful blisters, and there were no good solutions online. All the solutions online said, why don't you put 2 Band-Aids on? Like
that works, honestly.
Yeah, and then the Band-Aid falls off, exactly, leaves a sticky residue. Just wear 2 layers of socks, and even that sometimes wasn't tough enough because the Doc Marten boots, they're just really sturdy leather boots that you have to really break in. And one comment online said to even jump in the shower with your boots on and break them in that way, which...
That doesn't sound right to me, but
yeah.
If it works, it works. I just felt like I'm in the industry, I guess.
Right. There was just so many little tips and very mediocre life hacks to break them in. And that kind of got me thinking, why isn't there a better solution out there? Like, I just want to be able to just wear or do something and then just never have pain again. So it led me to creating Shezza, which is a sock with a special foam padding sewn into the very back of the heel right here to protect against any blisters that you might get from wearing new shoes, breaking in really tough shoes, leather shoes, construction boots, etc. And how I came up with that idea is I was wearing a sweatband, like around my waist, like a waist trainer kind of a thing, but it was very cushy, so that you can move around while you're working out. And I noticed that it was just very plush and soft. And I was like, wait, what if I can use this, like maybe cut out a piece of this and put it on the back of my heel where I'm getting these really bad blisters. So, and it's also, it's neoprene. So it's like the same wetsuit, it's wetsuit material pretty much.
Oh, I didn't even know that. That's cool.
So that was what the waist trainer was made out of, but it was like a foam. And so what I did is I got that waist trainer and I cut off little pieces, and I decided to take a sewing class while I was in high school at my local community college. And that's where I learned how to sew. So I took a sewing class, I got that little square patch, and I brought some really gross, dirty, old, like 3-year-old socks, and I brought them to my sewing class, and I sewed that little patch on the back of my sock, and I was like, okay, this is cool. Time to test it out. So then I wore that, and I wore it with my Doc Martens, and boom. From that day on, if I was ever wearing my Doc Martens, I had that nasty little sock on. That was my first prototype, and never got a blister again. So
I have so many scars on the back of my heels from like the volleyball days and every like
cleats,
just everything truly. And so when I remember back in college when we first met, and the first time I saw you was actually you were pitching Shezza at the Zip Launchpad. I don't remember what event it was, but I just remember I'm like, wait a second, that is so cool. That is such a like a it's not an idea everyone thinks of. Everybody, I feel like, can get distracted in the startup community of going for the fancy, well, you know, like the tech solutions, whatever. Not everyone thinks of doing like a sock company. But then I found out through you that there is like a whole sock community of people. And so what type of people have you met throughout this experience? And just like, what have you learned through your experience as well? Like just about yourself or, you know, just your journey as a young founder. Yeah.
Right. Yes. So when I came up with this idea, I was very young. I was 15, and I didn't quite know how to bring this idea that I had to become a real business someday. So it was honestly a lot of reaching out to people and just honestly playing the student card as I was a student in high school and college.
Student card, everybody, just do it. You only got it for like what, 4 years? Yeah, do it.
Yeah, exactly. So it was mostly me just reaching out to everybody in my community, researching programs online about business, entrepreneurship, and just trying to really dive deep into it with you know, it was an area I had no clue about. That's the thing, like it's not like you go to school to like, oh, I'm gonna be a lawyer, a doctor. I go to school, I do this schooling, then I do some training, and then I'm a lawyer. For entrepreneurship, there's no guide of what steps to take because every business is gonna be different, and you really just have to be a master at everything. So it's very challenging and it's very hard. That's why most businesses fail, because it's a really challenging thing. And
yeah, honestly. And I feel like people have taken years, like all these accelerator programs and the VCs initiating the position of head of platform for funds. I know not everybody's going to be able to relate to these type of topics, but this is a whole nother world and bubble that we get to introduce to people, is the world of the sock entrepreneurship. And there is a market for it. And as a personal user, I'm a big fan of it, since it is for the girls, and all the girls just like are tired of having their heels broken in. But I would just love to kind of just dive in before we get into the meat of the episode. Well, we're going to talk a lot about Shezza and Tiffany. But before we get into it, we're going to do the baddie briefing. Okay. So the baddie briefing, for those who don't know, we do it every single week. And what happens is me and Tiffany are going to share our favorite quote of the week. Oftentimes it reflects just like what struggle bus you're on that week or success or win. Or also you can do our favorites of the week. So we'll share our favorite anything. It doesn't have to be just a product or a song. It could be anything like a book or a person or an event or an organization. And it's just kind of open to that. So anyways, do you want to start or do you want me to start?
I will start.
Okay. All right. Go ahead and share your quote of the week.
Okay. So my quote of the week, and a quote that I've loved basically for like the last couple of years. Okay, so here's my quote. A comfort zone is a beautiful place, but nothing ever grows there.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, no, totally. Because okay. Well, our last week's episode was actually talking about, it was more focused on managing adult friendships. And so we were talking, so I guess this applies both to relationships personally, but also, of course, the business side. Of what it takes to grow a relationship and manage a relationship, and then also grow as a person and manage what that is going to look like and the type of rooms you're going to be in. But why?
I also have another quote that I like.
Oh yeah, sure.
It was from my Spanish teacher when I was a freshman in high school, and it always stuck with me. It was, what's the quote? Okay, here's the quote. Nobody's going to remember what you did, but they will remember how you made them feel.
That's one of my favorite quotes ever.
Yeah.
I
so
always tell people that. That's a great quote. great quote. And then it's kind of like not, I mean, for those who read the Dale Carnegie, okay, great, yes, but like that's a great thing to kind of like live by. And so like how do you like, what do you think about like that consistently when you're dealing with people, or how do you implement that in your day?
Right. I think just being a good person and being nice to everybody, because
she's a good person. Yes.
I try to be. You just don't know if somebody's going through something really challenging in their life, and if you're nice, you're kind, you're polite, then you can really help bring people out of dark places. Even just the little things of giving somebody a compliment, smiling, laughing, just being pleasant, then you're like a little light.
Yeah, it's like for the perfectionist people who are like, this needs to be exactly like this, like everything needs to be perfect, but it's like in the end, like people don't always remember those little details.
Right.
Like I work in events, no one's gonna remember that the caterer was late. As long as it's on the table when you're about to eat, you're fine. Yeah. And so I totally get what you're saying by that. But anyway, so my quote, since the Grammys were of recently, and T Swizzle, I'm gonna be that girl, okay? And I'm gonna give you a quote by T Swizzle. I think she's incredibly talented, always. Like you can have your perspectives on Taylor Swift, but I didn't even become a Swiftie until like college, I guess. But there's a quote that she said, I like to think you don't okay, let me repeat. I like to think you don't stop being creative once you get happy. My ultimate goal is to end up being happy most of the time. And so what I really liked about this was because I think I had a really difficult relationship with whether or not I was a creative person or an analytical person. And then I kind of just gave all of that up, and I'm just like,
I am who I am.
I am who I am because I am. Because I felt like I was so tied up in putting a box on myself to make everything make sense on a resume, because I have a more generalist approach to my work. And so identity was tough. And so I thought putting a label like that would be help with my identity. But I love that because it's just like happiness comes from all things, and especially with purpose. And it's just like, just do you, just stop overthinking it, stop being a perfectionist.
Yeah. And happiness is not a destination. It's throughout your daily life. When you get up, are you grateful for the sun? Are you grateful for being alive? It's not, once I reach this goal, then I'm going to feel fulfilled and happy. It's happiness is about the little things in everyday life and just as a person.
Yeah,
so
truly. I feel like it was interesting because I thought like the goal of happiness was the less work you create for yourself. I'm like, I can be happy if I work less. But then I was like, wait, no, I honestly do like working. Not to be like, I like working, but I like working when there's like a purpose to it. It's like having a purpose is fun. Having a purpose makes me happy. And so it's like, it's just a perspective that I feel like I learned over the years. But okay, moving forward, favorites. What's your favorite of the week?
Favorites. So I love the Laneige, if that's hopefully how I'm pronouncing it correctly, the sleeping lip mask.
Oh, okay.
It's a good chapstick for the winter. And it just keeps it all moist, I guess. It's
funny because I just had my cousin on here, and she brought up Summer Fridays lip tints for hers. I'm definitely more of like a Vaseline, not Vaseline, what's it called? Aquaphor. Oh, okay. Aquaphor person, but I'm always open to recommendations because
it's good.
Lips are crusty sometimes when I have long meetings. That's a great one.
Yeah, gotta stay hydrated too.
Drink hydrated. Water. Don't come for me. Today I did not drink water. I'll work on that. But for my favorite, I'm gonna be biased here, and you can be mad about it. But okay, I'm going to say Shezza. I'm going to say Shezza this week. Reason for that is because me and Tiffany, we got together recently. I gave her some merch, and so I wanted to try out some socks. But these are freaking amazing. Like I said, I have a larger foot for a woman. Yeah. So shoes fit very snug. I have a wider foot. I'm just very used to shoes being really uncomfortable. And then this last weekend went and hung out with some friends, wore these high-heeled booties, who are snug on my foot. Put these on. I wore the black pair actually. And it was amazing. It was a long night.
And
blisters, exactly. Yeah. Also going to New York later this month, so this will be really useful, and Yay. I really appreciated it. So if you're interested, if you're curious, I know I told my best friend about it, and she's like, I need those right now. She's in like Kansas City. But anyways, they are amazing. Check them out. Shezza, Shezza. Okay, socks can change your life. They can. But anyways, let's go ahead and get into it. Would love to like learn a little bit more about the whole. I want to hear stories, honestly, because I don't know if you remember this. Well, you definitely remember this, but I do too. Tell me if I'm wrong, but you in college you also wanted to pursue a business that was storage units, correct? Could you tell me a little bit more about that? Go down memory lane of what the other ventures you were exploring before Shezza.
Yes. So my first, in a sense, business was when I was in first grade selling guppies to my classmates.
Oh, where'd you get them?
From my house. I had a lot of guppies that would just kind of populate.
Oh my gosh.
And I was always trying to find ways to make money on my own and start a business. So that was my first business when I was a first grader. I would sell guppies to my classmates, and then I would have enough money to buy ice cream for myself from my own hard-earned money after school.
Oh yeah.
So that's where it
Mine was like
started.
a dollar gumball machine where you had to pay $1 for the gumballs, which is extraordinarily priced.
Yeah.
Terrible pricing there, but cuteness can break that. But
Right.
that's interesting. Yeah.
So that was my first business experience as a little kid. Then I moved on to lemonade stands, and then my sock idea, Shezza. But when I was in high school, I didn't quite know how to start a business. So I kind of tried to work on it, but I just didn't have any clear direction. And also I was a college student, so I was very broke and I didn't have money.
It's not like these kids these days who are on TikTok just like busting out businesses like it's their job.
Yeah.
Well, it does become their job, but
Yeah, I know. Props to them. Then after just not really knowing how to make Shezza work and not knowing anything about manufacturing and just really not having a lot of knowledge as a young, like 16, 17, 18-year-old, I just kind of put it on pause. And I would sometimes go back to it, but then I did a study abroad program in Spain, and I experienced some problems leaving my luggage if I had a really long layover, and there were luggage lockers where I could leave my luggage, but there were super long lines, and then it made people late for their trains, their planes, and pretty much I just experienced issues with leaving luggage. So
traveling's like a big part of your life.
yes. Yeah, that's where I really fell in love with traveling, is when I studied abroad in Spain, which was honestly the best 6 months of my life.
Where in Spain?
Madrid.
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 Oh, nice. Haven't been there yet. That's
But
cool.
every weekend I went somewhere new, and I barely went to class, and it was honestly great because traveling, you learn just as much as if you take a class, if you read a book. You just learn to be very street smart, very quick, savvy, and figure out things on the go. So I love traveling for that and just learning new things, languages, cultures, experiences.
Yep.
That's where I came up with a different business idea of basically storing your luggage at somebody's house versus these luggage lockers. Basically, you can just look up on a map, on an app, places nearby where you can just leave your luggage at somebody's home, kind of like Airbnb, but for your luggage. And they already kind of had something similar to that, but I don't know, I kind of wanted to do another little twist, and it was basically an idea around storage and storing it at somebody's home rather than a business.
Yeah. It's like the luggage version of Airbnb.
Yeah, exactly. So I started working on that idea when I came to San Diego State. So I went to Orange Coast College in Orange County, California, and then I transferred to San Diego State. And San Diego State it kind of opened up a lot of opportunities and knowledge about business that I hadn't previously had at my junior college. Certain programs such as the Lavin Entrepreneurship Program, Entrepreneur Society, which was a club on campus, and then the Zip Launchpad, which was an incubator.
I've talked about a few of these before, and so for OG baddies who've been here for a bit, they'll know kind of what I'm talking about. But for those who don't, the Lavin Entrepreneurship Center, I used to work there as a programs manager, but we're all alum. A lot of my friends come from the programs. Where we basically got to network and access programs and funding as a student to build businesses within college as students. Same thing with the Zip Launchpad. It was the accelerator. Or is it incubator? It was more of an incubator.
Yeah, incubator.
Yeah, incubator program where students can come and build businesses and have access to resources as well. And so that's kind of what she's talking about.
Exactly. So it wasn't until I got involved in those programs that I started figuring out what are the processes and what are the steps that you need to take to build a successful business. Not just a business and then say, hey, I hope people buy it, but a business, you know how big the market is. Is it a growing market? Are people actually willing to buy? How much are they willing to buy your product or service for? All of these essential questions and things you need to know as a business owner. So I started working on my idea, my storage app idea there in the Zip Launchpad for about maybe 6 months.
I met you when you were pursuing that idea. Yeah, I remember that.
And I really liked the idea. However, I just found out that throughout the whole process that I wasn't really much of a tech person. I never really was. And software coding, I know that I could outsource it, but I just didn't really understand it myself.
Yeah, I think that's a good realization to come to. It's like tech is fun, fancy and pretty, and everyone loves to invest in it, of course, but like understanding that in yourself, I think is kind of a hard thing to get to.
Yeah. And if tech was my passion, then, you know, maybe I would have continued on to this, but it's something I just didn't really know much about. I didn't really care too much about it too at the time. And I realized that I would have probably had to raise a lot of money to start this business, and there were already competitors in the space. So after a while, I just kind of realized that maybe it wasn't for me, and that's where I still was like, oh man, I want to start a business, and I have all these great opportunities through the programs at San Diego State. And then that kind of got me thinking back to the sock idea, and I just kind of started looking into it a little bit more, and just I had this bag in my college room at my house. I had like a closet, and then at the very bottom corner of my closet I had this bag of sock prototypes and things that it was just kind of like a dream that I had like put away.
Yeah. Pin in it. You put a pin in it for a bit.
Yeah, which is great that I came back.
And you pulled the pin out. Yeah.
So it always just kind of sat there, and it kind of made me feel sad just knowing that I had all my little dreams and my hard work and my effort towards the sock idea, and that I'd never really like tried to start it again. So I kind of brought that out, and I was looking at these prototypes and these things, and I was like, I wonder if I should start working on this again. Like, is this a problem that people experience? Because I had talked to people and said, oh, I get blisters with this and that. Oh yeah, I would buy this. And so I did get good feedback from it. So that's
did you do like the lean model? You like go and talk to people,
exactly, interview random strangers.
Yeah, I'm like, how do you feel about? Do you mind sharing a little bit about that? Because I remember, so I was also part of the Zip Launchpad, and I started a company called Zen Plus at that time. Stopped it for kind of a similar reason. I just didn't know what I was really. Yeah. I didn't think health tech was my thing. But I remember distinctly I would go and literally go to inpatient rehabilitation centers for traumatic brain injury survivors. You're not supposed to do that, by the way. You're not supposed to like go into like medical buildings and start talking to strangers. But I was 18, so it's like whatever. Yeah. I just chopped it up to like, I don't know what I'm doing. But for you, what were those like interactions like when you went to go talk to people about the concept of Shezza?
Yes. So I did interviews with my first storage app idea, and then I did interviews with Shezza, and that's what the program taught me is, hey, you got to just talk to people that might be in your, either just random strangers or people that might be a potential customer. So for talking to people that might get blisters, I went and talked to people at the firefighter station, because they wear thick leather boots and they have to go hike sometimes miles in the forest and put out fires.
That's true. I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
I talked to police officers as well, because they also wear thick leather boots. And
it's interesting because I was thinking that you would target like young women, but you were targeting like service, like out in the field type of folks. Got it.
Right. And I also talked to military personnel, and then I also talked to young fashionable women who wore Doc Martens, which was what I had first gotten the idea from my blisters for my dogs. So I talked to a large variety of potential customers, demographics, and I would just ask them a series of questions. I wouldn't have each interview be different. You have to ask them certain questions. So you have to ask everybody, because if you talk to 50 people, what are the current solutions that you're using to solve this problem? Or even just asking them, hey, like, tell me, you have to ask open-ended questions too, like, hey, do you ever, not asking like yes or no questions always, but open-ended, like, oh, tell me about your experiences with your boots. Are they comfy? Are they uncomfy? Stuff like that. Not making it biased. Like, oh, do you ever get blisters whenever you wear new shoes? Like that's
They're like, oh, yeah, of course.
yeah, exactly.
It's kind of biased there.
Exactly. So that's kind of the key when asking strangers, people that you don't know, unbiased and open-ended questions so that you just get the most feedback and the honest feedback, nothing like swaying them one way or the other. So I talk to probably, and with a combination of talking to people in person, just random people, going to malls, going to the police station, the beach, everywhere. I probably talked to over 100 people.
Oh, nice.
And then I sent out surveys, maybe in total 500 surveys. So I talked to a lot of people, and from there, if you ask the same questions, or like, you're able to quantify the data too and say, oh, well, out of these people, 75% of the people that I talked to experience X problem, or 65% of people got blisters from these boots or loafers, you know.
Was there anything that was discussed that was told to you that you didn't previously expect, or was it kind of just like in line? Like you're like, oh, I kind of expected these results. You just kind of confirmed it, or was it something else?
Yes, I found out a few things. One is that I thought originally my target demographic would be utility people, you know, people, construction workers, policemen, firefighters, people in the military. But what I realized is that a lot of them are very tough, strong. They'll just put moleskin on it. They'll put a few Band-Aids on it. Or they might just get blisters and they might have scars in the back of their heels. And
like, do you want ugly heels?
Yeah, men don't care. A lot of men don't care.
Duh,
So
that's fair.
That's what I found out from those demographics. But what I found out from the kind of fashionista, fashion forward woman demographic is that they just really, it really pained them if they're walking all around New York City and they get a blister and they're like, dang, this sucks. Like they're really actively looking for a better solution, or they just wouldn't wear their shoes at all. So, and how we came to a lot of success is reaching the young Gen Z fashionista woman.
Gen Alpha's coming up.
Ooh.
I know.
Through TikTok. So that was actually a really easy channel to just reach them, and that's what I ended up going with. And I knew that demographic very well because it's similar to me and a lot of my friends.
Can you share more? Because you're a TikTok viral brand. I loved your website actually because there was like those videos on there, and I just felt it was so relatable because like people around our age and younger, they're on TikTok, even older too. Everyone's on TikTok, so it's kind of cool to see that familiarity. But could you just share like about what was the whole plan for TikTok? Did it kind of, the virality of it just kind of happen, or was it planned, or just what was that moment
Unplanned.
like? Yeah. What was that whole moment like when all that happened?
Yes. So after I decided to quit the app idea, the storage app idea, and decided to go back to my original idea, Shezza, then I started working on it. I did all the proper things of doing the interviews, finding out, hey, this is something that people will buy. I did a lot of market research. I was trying to work with manufacturers overseas and try to, Mexico, here, everywhere, just try to get prototypes that are not from my sewing machine. So it took, honestly, a few years to get to a point where I had a legit prototype and that I was going to try to start doing some real testing. Had a website up, and how I came to posting things on TikTok, and you know, now we've reached over 90 million views across Instagram and TikTok combined, which is just insane.
That's incredible.
Unreal.
That's a lot of people.
Right, and organically without running any ads or anything. It all started from when my friend, at this time I had graduated college and I was working a digital marketing job for a startup, and I lived in Puerto Rico on an island, and it was just...
We'll get into that, no worries.
It was a fun time, and I actually had a friend who does a lot of influencer work for brands, and she came to visit me, and she was telling me that she got blisters from her new Nike Air Forces, and she was telling me, Tiffany, this sock is really cool. I got these blisters. You need to post this on TikTok. And I was like, I don't think people really care about socks on TikTok. Like, you really think that people would care.
I thought wrong.
I
would have thought that, and it's like all that like personal bias. It's like, who's going to care about my little company?
Yeah, exactly. But when in the beginning, you're always doubting yourself.
Yeah, it's like, well, I guess you won't know until you try type of situation. That makes sense. Okay.
Exactly.
Continue.
So my friend was telling me, no, Tiffany, people will care about this. It's a problem and you're solving it in such a better way than Band-Aids and numbing spray and doubling up in your socks.
Because I would assume, honestly, people wouldn't like, they're like, no, I want something that like is like sexier, a sexier business. But it's always been an issue because I guess nobody really wanted to pursue it in a similar way. And so that makes sense why like it just felt like a blue ocean, at least. Like I don't think I hear things like this often still.
Right. Yeah. And that's where it honestly led to a lot of doubts for me too. I was like, nobody's tried to do this. So anyway, she was telling me, no, you need to post this. And I was like, okay, I'll make some video. I'll figure out what to do. Mm-hmm. And
so you made the first TikTok about it?
So I had 2 friends that had sent me on the same day. They sent me the same video. They were like, oh my God, look. And I opened the TikTok and it was this girl who said, break in my docs with me. And she's going through this crazy process to break in her docs. Just to put the docs on, she got cotton balls, duct tape, and she stuck that to the back of her heels, and then she put numbing spray around her heel so that she wouldn't get blisters, and then she wore 2 pairs of socks. Just really crazy intense stuff that people will do for fashion to break in these shoes.
No, seriously. And I'm just like, is it like Apple, where Apple changes the charger port like every year? Do the boots? I know, I just got the 15 and it's the freaking Mac Pro charger. Pisses me off. But I'm like, are docs in the boot industry doing the similar thing? Because why do they all kill our heels?
Literally.
But anyways, continue.
Yeah. So I saw that TikTok video of this girl just going through the most grueling, painful process. And then after she does all that, it says, still got blisters anyway, or I'm still in pain.
I would be pissed. Yeah,
right.
That's terrible.
Right. So 2 of my friends sent me that video on the same day, and I was like, okay, maybe this is a sign. What can I do about this video? So
sock talk.
So I decided, okay, I'll make a reaction video, like the the little TikTok split
like
screen.
I don't know.
A stitch or whatever,
Stitch,
or not a stitch, but it's like side by side.
Yeah.
You see the original video, and then like you make a new video.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm like, I should know this. I should know
what I was talking. She did it though. You push a button. I know what button to push.
Right. So to that video, I decided to make a reaction video. So I'm watching this video and then I'm reacting to it being like, oh my God, no, like, what are you doing? No, wait, there's a better solution. And I have the words at the top, wait for a better solution. And basically it's like, wait, okay, here's my solution. And then I show my sock prototype that I have. And then it basically flips the camera to my website of like, oh, just wear this foam padded sock to not get blisters. It only took me like 15 minutes to create. And then I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna post it and tell my friend that I posted it.
Did the first video go viral?
Yes.
Shut up. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And it's funny because I had posted, this was on my personal Instagram. I'd posted a couple other videos before and nothing had really gone viral. Maybe I'd get like 200, 300 views on things. Yeah. And on my Shezza TikTok, I only had like maybe 10 followers at the time. Were just me and my friends. Uh-huh. And so I tagged the Shezza TikTok and I posted the video and I was like, all right, cool. I posted it. We'll see if anything happens. And then throughout that weekend, because I had already created a website and I knew I was running some ads and nobody was clicking. The only person that like added to cart was like my mom. So
shout out to mom.
Big supporter.
Thank you.
So I was like, okay, I have this website up and it says like buy now. And I didn't have product at this time. It was just basically for testing purposes, trying to get people's emails, trying to just see who interacted with my site, seeing where they went on my site.
Yeah. And when was this? This is what year?
I think this was 2021.
Okay, 2021. Got it.
Wait, when was this? Yeah, I think this was 2021.
Oh, God.
This was around November 2021, around like Thanksgiving time.
Okay. So
yes.
It's like 2 years. Yeah. Okay, got it.
Yeah, so like a little over 2 years ago.
I'm just thinking about the landscape of what TikTok was because I feel like it's evolved month by month.
Yeah.
And so I'm just trying to think back at that, but yeah.
Right. So I posted it and then I was in Puerto Rico at the time and it was Thanksgiving weekend. the flights were kind of expensive, and I was like, Mom, Dad, I think I'm just gonna stay out here. And they're like, yeah, we don't care, just stay.
Do your thing, girl.
Yeah. So I was in Puerto Rico, and I remember just like waking up one morning, and I went and got breakfast, and then I'm on my phone and I just see an order come in from my Shopify website, and I was like, wait, what the hell?
Like, is this a blip?
Yeah.
Is this a blip?
I was like, who just bought my socks? I had no idea. And then I got another person who bought my socks, and I was like, these are not my friends. Like, these are just random people.
Wait, so you didn't have product in hand, but did you have a manufacturer lined up at this time, or were you just running?
Kind of. I had gotten samples from different manufacturers.
Got it.
And yeah, so I started getting orders, and I was like, what? Where is this coming from? And then I looked at my TikTok video and noticed that it started getting a lot of likes. Like it had like 10K likes, and then I would refresh the page, and then it would go to like 12K likes. And I was like, oh, my video's going viral.
Like,
oh my God.
This is happening. This is my moment.
Yeah. This is my pinch me moment where I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I just see the likes going up and up and the views and whatnot. And then I started getting a bunch of orders, and it was just the craziest validation moment of my life where I was like, oh my God, this is gonna work.
Did something.
Yeah, I did something. People want this. Like, people actually want my product. This is insane. Like, I'm gonna build this business. So that was probably one of the coolest, most memorable entrepreneurship days of my life.
No, like, honestly, I feel okay, not that, because of course social media comes with its gratification, but it's like to know you had so much hard work into it, and so
years
like,
before this part.
Years of hard work to go into it. And so it's like, it's not like it was just for those of people who are like, I've been posting every day for like 2 years, I haven't had a viral video.
And there's
like,
strategy to that too, which I will mention.
Yeah, I'm definitely curious about that. But the type of thing that you reminded me of also was that whole situation with the makeup influencer Michaela. There was like, it's different, but the scenario was that there was a small business owner who had she had promised him to do a video about him, and every time she does a video about somebody, they go viral and people order tons of product. And so he took a down payment in order to order more product to fulfill the needs, and then she ended up not doing it, and then there was a whole scandal.
Right.
But your scenario was kind of like, you went viral. Okay, well, then you kind of go into like, oh shoot, okay, what do I do?
I was like, I don't have product to sell to these people.
I know. So what did you do next?
Yeah, so I just kind of waited to get the orders kind of kept coming in. I would say probably from that viral video. So that video reached a little over 600,000 views by the end of it. And it was great feedback, by the way, because I had people commenting saying, oh my God, where have these been all my life? This is genius. I get blisters every time I wear my docs. My doc's looking at me right now, like laughing, like stuff like that.
Do you, this is such a niche question, but do you remember kind of like an estimate of how many comments were probably on that? Because I'm thinking back at like your surveys. You had like 600 surveys that you had done. You worked hard for those.
Right.
Like, how many of these comments contributed to your feedback?
I would say probably, I think I got somewhere around 300 to 400 comments.
That's awesome. And off of like one TikTok video. It's just great feedback. Got it.
And off of that video, I probably got, I would say maybe 50 orders or more. Honestly, probably more.
That's awesome. That's really good.
So it was just incredible, but I had to basically let all my customers know that I couldn't ship out because I was still in the testing phase. So a few people, they wanted a refund, which I probably would have said too, but some people were really nice and said, oh no, we want to support you, like, you're woman owned, like, because I was like, I can let you know that when I might be ready and you'll be the first to get them, like, it's still a very new thing. And a lot of people were nice and just decided to wait.
Yeah. Like a pre-order situation.
Yeah, a pre-order situation.
Yeah.
Right. And then that's when on my website I changed the button to buy now to pre-order now.
Yeah, there we go.
So they knew that it was a pre-order.
There we go. That makes sense. Okay, that's super smart though. And so you said it kind of came with there's like a little strategy to it. Do you want to give a little quick masterclass on what yours was?
Yes. So strategies for TikTok, Instagram Reel, anything. I think this was actually around the time where people started to write text on the screen, just like big blobs of text on the screen to get people to view the same 6 or 7 second video.
Oh yeah, like it's so quick, and then you're like, oh, I gotta watch it again because I gotta read. Yeah, because I need
to read and see what it all says. So that was actually around the time that I had posted this, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna add text on screen. Which honestly, if you look at Shezza Socks, TikToks, Instagram, everything, pretty much every video we post, there's text on the screen.
It's my favorite strategy. Yeah, it's like low.
Hanging fruit, pretty much.
Like it's easier to execute. It's kind of effective. That's smart. Yeah,
right. So in the video, my first video that went viral, how I mentioned, I put wait for a better solution. So in all of your videos that you post, you kind of want to keep people waiting. You know those videos that kind of piss you off where you're like they're supposed to show you something, but you have to wait for them for so long, and then they show you something, or like, here are the top 5 places to visit, blah 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 blah, like, and then you have to wait. You know
what I hate? The one I hate is it's telling like a historical, or it's like telling the story of a movie, or it's telling the story of history, and it's like these are completely redundant and generalized ideas, and keep repeating for 10 minutes, and then finally you get to the end, and it honestly
it's like part nothing. 2 yeah
part 2, and I'm like, are you kidding me?
I know.
Yeah, I totally know what you're talking about.
So in any of your videos, Instagram Reel, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Pinterest even is came out with their new basically version of TikTok. You have to try to keep people waiting and keep people that's the whole point of social media, is like keeping people entertained and on the app. So
you can't mess with psychology, people. Don't be mad. This is just, we're being transparent here.
Yeah. So trying to keep people waiting, engaged. So always having text on the screen is pretty much my strategy. And then also just keeping up with certain trends. And I actually haven't posted a video for over 1.5 years, but
it's still going.
But I have many interns that are social media experts that do an incredible job at searching for trends, and they'll find trends and they'll try to make it into a way to relate to Shezza. And then basically I just approve all the content.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. Okay, cool. And is it through the Zip Launchpad?
Some of them were. I'm not in the program anymore, but some of them, they've worked for me, and then I just kind of kept them on, and they just do great job. I just approve the content. I'm like, yes, okay, that's good. Go
off. Was there a certain trend that you're like, oh my gosh, this was really cool, this is really creative?
Yes. So trends and audios. So also just trying to make it relatable. So one of the big trending videos that we had, I was basically on TikTok scrolling, looking at ideas, and also having a business that runs a lot off of TikTok and interactions from social media. You scroll differently, because you're not just scrolling to entertain yourself, you're scrolling to search for ideas, inspiration,
like trending audios and stuff. Yeah, totally.
Exactly. So one of them, this was maybe like 2022. Yeah, around like September 2022. This is when I was finally getting my product in, and I had already validated it and had the whole manufacturing, everything set up, and I was getting product.
And you were all part-time at this point, right?
Oh, no, I was working my job full-time and doing Shezza.
Yeah.
And I was getting no sleep. I was just frazzled as a person, and I was like, God, I need to just work on this full-time, but I wasn't quite there yet, and that's where I wait till I got all my inventory and everything.
Yeah. And really quickly, I know we're talking about TikTok trends, but it's something I'm really just a little curious about, since there is a ton of people who have a hard decision of like, we're younger, so it's not like we had time to save for a million, everyone's financial situation's different. But how did you just kind of like keep yourself going and going and going, even when things were just exceptionally hard and you were choosing a pathway that oftentimes people will not pursue for that exact reason?
Right. It kind of goes back to my quote, a comfort zone is a beautiful place, but nothing ever grows there. Throughout that whole startup journey, through the thick of it, it was not comfortable at all. Like I was saying, I had
it ever comfortable?
No.
Long pause.
No, it was a lot of just discovering, learning, and coming to realizations, and nights where I'd stay up till 3-4 in the morning, and then I'd have a meeting at 9 a.m. and I would try to scramble things together for my job that was supporting me.
Were you nomadic at that time?
I was living in Puerto Rico, but I was actually living there, so I wouldn't quite say it's nomadic. But
I see what you're saying.
I was
Got
living
it.
like in a different
Just
place.
in a different country. Got it. Okay.
So
that would have been incredible if you, like, to be moving around doing 2 jobs. That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was in Puerto Rico and just like living a totally different lifestyle than San Diego, California life. I was like, you know, I luckily on the weekends I still did find time to go adventure, and Puerto Rico's beautiful.
Live your life.
Beautiful island. So I'd go see waterfall on the weekend, go to the beach, and it was very relaxing. And then I did have my time to just grind like nonstop. It's like really hard, especially during the week.
Yeah. And also real quick, be careful when you it does catch the
when I go like this,
like when you every time you grab it does hear it. Yeah. But anyways, it'll be good. I think I have audio that will fix that, but just so you're aware. But anyways, okay, that's really cool. I do want to save a whole section for the traveling, because selfishly I want to be nomadic too. We all work virtual. But going back to the TikTok strategies, and like because I do get a lot of questions from people, because like TikTok isn't always so easy for people to understand and wrap their mind around. Sometimes they get overwhelmed with like how much content, and just being consistent, and just playing the game of TikTok. And I would just love to like just learn more, because I like your that strategies are really, I love that strategy, because it's just like I personally have a really short-term memory, or like short-term like attention span.
Right.
So for
everyone does.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Everyone does. But me personally, I love those videos where you have to read it. So I would love to learn more.
Yes. So back to the strategies, text on screen, super huge. And then just certain trending audios that are funny, catchy, relatable. So my one video that went really crazy viral in the millions of views, my first viral video, it was, I don't know if you remember the audio, but it basically showed something that, like, for example, I saw this video of this guy, and it was his dog, and like he was cuddling his dog, and then the trending audio was like, "You better fix my entire life, you little shit."
Oh yeah, totally.
You might remember that.
Totally do.
Yeah.
So, I've been trying to find that audio, by the way, so please send me your video.
Yeah. I think it's pinned.
Okay.
So it was that video, and I thought, oh my god, that is actually funny. And I was like, how could I use that for Shezza? Oh, okay, well, Shezza stops blisters. So I had recorded a bunch of content in my living room, just using a sheet and then like clipping it to chairs, and just very like trying to makeshift what I could. Very unprofessional, but I had a lot of clips of me with my prototype.
Were those your feet?
That was me. Yeah.
I know those were your feet.
That was me.
Because I know what videos you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. So I had a lot of content of like me wearing my Docs, or me having my prototype and squishing the padding, taking my Doc boot off and squishing the padding after, just kind of like modeling the socks a little bit. So I was like, oh, this is good. And by this time I had already had about 4 to 5 interns at San Diego State, just helping me with social media, Shopify, website, just a bunch of stuff. And I sent this to my social media intern and said, hey, can you like use the content and make this like a Shezza video? She was like, yeah, sure. So she put together the video and ultimately posted it. And then that video, I think it's at like 7.6 million views now. And it just blew up.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
It's like a small country.
Yeah, I know. So that was one of the really viral videos. So that's where I'm talking about trending audios and trends, just hopping on them. And if like the audience is like, you're not great on social media, then get somebody that is. And I feel that a lot of people that are young, Gen Z, we kind of just understand it and we get it.
Yeah.
And we
grew up with it. Like, it's kind of like,
it's a part of like just who we are in a sense.
It's who we are. It's
fortunately and unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
There's a lot of good things and bad things to it.
Grateful in a way, because we understand it so well, and marketing is really leaning into the whole idea of TikTok and social media and organic growth. Bad in the fact that it affects the mental health in many ways.
Isolation, things like that. But then if you have it for a business, it's changed my life.
Yeah. Like Keith Lee is one of my favorite guys on the TikTok, because of how effective he is able to change like small business owners and small restaurants. And that's just his brand, is changing lives. And so
absolutely. And help what is it? Murph's life too, how he's helped a lot of people in like Central America, and has like all his TikTok followers have donated like hundreds of thousands of dollars to help so many people.
Yeah, it's interesting they're coming out with the gifts feature, the gifts, like not gifts, gifts, with a T feature.
Yes.
I don't know. Have you spent much time on that side of it?
No, I don't really. Okay. I haven't really looked too much into it, but I do think that's interesting too. And I'm sure a lot of influencers and people, they get gifts all the time, which is interesting.
Yeah, because I was like, I haven't looked into it, so don't quote me on this. But what I thought, the idea that I had around it, if they decide to go this way, is like, what an incredible way for small businesses to acquire more by having that feature on their TikTok and social media channels. But
yeah. So strategy. So as I mentioned, the text on screen, just hopping on certain trends and audios. And if you're not good at social media, then getting someone young who goes on social media often and that really understands it, and just have them do their thing pretty much. And then another tip that we always use is SEO. So keywords, hiding keywords in our videos, and also having keywords in our captions. If we post something on Instagram, so within our TikTok videos, within our Instagram reels, we get keywords. So we'll basically like be creating it within, say, TikTok, and then we will write certain keywords we want to target, such as socks for Doc Martens, Doc Marten fashion, winter fashion, spring collection, just stuff like that.
How did you determine those words?
Just certain trends and things that our demographics are also interested in as well.
It was like
fashion, pretty much.
Yeah, it was like it was more of a hunch than it was like tactful. Like, did you ever like really have to go to those specialty sites where it's like tells you
look at the keywords and things?
Yeah,
and sometimes a little bit, but a lot of times we would just have it suggested to us as well if we're searching up like Doc Marten, and then there'll be like a couple of things that come up on like Pinterest or Instagram of like what other things people are searching for TikTok. So we'd get those keywords and we would write it on screen like for our video, and then we would make it really small and hide it in the upper corner off screen.
That's interesting.
Right. So that's a big life hack.
That is a huge
SEO
hack.
And keywords have just been incredible for us too, because some of the videos, even some of the influencers we've worked with, and their videos have like, one of them blew up and got like 12 million views on Instagram, but we told her to use all those strategies that she didn't know about, like the keywords and hiding it. And now when you go on Google, if you type in like padded socks or socks for Doc Martens, a lot of our TikToks will show up, and like her TikTok shows up. So
that's brilliant.
Incredible for like, even with like ChatGPT, like Bing, like Google, just in general, people searching for things. Solutions.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
things. So that's another trick. And then within our captions, just specific hashtags towards our audience. Maybe we'll use anywhere from like 3 to 6 hashtags. And then
it used to be like a lot of hashtags, and now it's like people are
like a little less.
They're leaning off of it. Yeah.
Right. And I feel like, strategies are always changing too. So just kind of trying to keep updated on that, which honestly nowadays you can just ask ChatGPT.
Seriously, just ChatGPT. You can do the free one too. Like, you go to the free version, log in, create an account, do the free version, and then you can ask it those questions.
And you can get the updated ChatGPT for free through, if you do it on Bing, they have the... Yeah.
I didn't know that.
They have the updated, because I think the normal free one is from like 2022, but they have the upgraded one. Just go on Bing, and then you just log into your Microsoft account, and you can get ChatGPT 4 for free. Yeah.
Life freaking hack.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
I know. Or if you want to pay $20 a month too, where it comes with like Dolly, where you can get images to create for you.
Yeah, that's true. But and honestly, I bet it's more effective because Canva kind of has like a feature like that. Have you used that one yet?
Yeah, it's kind of
iffy.
Oh, Instagram actually just came out with the AI feature as well for stories. If you go in the story, you can have a photo, and then you could say like, you click the AI button at the top right corner, and it says like, make the background disco balls, make the background like hearts or a beach, like, and it'll just create it, and it's actually pretty good.
Really?
Honestly. Yeah.
I'll have to try that out.
It's better than Canva.
Okay, because I know I'm a big Canva girly for sure, but like all these other tools are coming out, so it's nice to have diversified perspective. Exactly. You're really putting me on to a lot of things right now. That's awesome.
And a lot of it too, like a lot of this stuff I learned through a lot of my interns as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I think
Gosh,
just young people, they just get certain things and they can teach us so many things.
What do you think this is a big question, but what do you think it is? Do you think it's because like I have a theory where it's like our generation, the ones that are under us, they naturally have this instinct to find an easier way to do things, and therefore we understand that technology can do it, and so we go in searching for it. We know how to search for these things. We know how to manipulate through the internet to figure out what we exactly want. Like in your perspective, like why does, I don't even know what I'm trying to ask. I just think it's just honestly an interesting thing of why we pick it up so quickly and how we are able to pick up technology so quickly in that way.
Yeah, because technology has just made life so much easier for us that why would we go and look into a book to find an answer when we can just have it at our fingertips and ask ChatGPT and it'll give us an amazing response.
Yeah. Do you ever, this is kind of, apologies for getting off topic, but do you think it's a little concerning for the education system to know that technology can solve so many things and give us so many answers? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I feel like if I was a teacher, then I'd be like, what the hell? Like, you guys can just do everything so easy now. But then it also comes to an advantage that, you know, when I was in high school and I was struggling so hard in my classes and I had ADD and I was like just up till midnight, 1 a.m. just trying to finish my homework, when now kids can just ask ChatGPT, how do I solve this calculus problem? And then it'll show them exactly everything step by step. So I think obviously like there's a lot of bad to it, but if you want to look at it in a positive light, it can really help and save people time so that they can spend their time with their friends or going out and working out, hanging out, you know, working on a business on the side.
Or even like, because I feel like Albert Einstein, if he had ChatGPT, he would use it. Like he would want to use it. Like it's smart to know that you are capable of more if you have solutions that help you fix it. You know, like wearing Shezza and walking far distances. But
but yeah, I'm all about life hacks, and as you said, there's always a solution for something. And there's always a better, quicker way to do it. And that's kind of how I came up with Shezza, because I found that there's just a better way to solve the blister problem.
I appreciate you. You've done a service for this world. You're the best.
Yeah, trying to stop blisters because it's a pain. And then we want to allow people to just be fashionable and wear whatever boot they want, like without having to feel the little dagger in the back of their heel digging at them, you know.
Literally all the time.
Comfy.
I know. Yeah. You can use my heels as like false problems. Yeah, not that bad, I guess. Anyways, I love your story. Thank you so much for sharing it. And the hacks, I can't wait to implement those actually.
Good.
But let's get into a little bit about your nomadic life, and then we'll close her out. But we typically do Unpopular Opinions, which is a new segment this year where I usually share Reddit stories, and guests and myself provide feedback based off of those stories. But I personally relate to this whole want of nomadic life, and so I just want to hear about, like, first things first, what made you decide to do it? Because I know you love travel, but what is it? What was that thing?
Right. So I would say my love for travel really started, how I mentioned, when I did my study abroad program to Spain, because that just led me totally outside of my comfort zone. And I was fortunate enough to have my dad come with me for the first week that I was there, because he speaks Spanish fluently and I'm decent, but setting up my SIM card and my bank account, a lot of people didn't speak English, which obviously it's a Spanish speaking country, it's Spain. So I was really grateful to have my dad there that first week that I had I arrived. And from there, it just made me have so much confidence in myself. While my dad was there helping me with things and we were exploring around, I remember just saying like, oh, I really hope that I'm going to make friends. I'm out here all alone. And I had also just transferred from a junior college to San Diego State, and I didn't really have too many friends to begin with, because I was only at San Diego State for one semester and then I did my study abroad. So I was going knowing nobody. You know, a lot of people had their friends. Yeah.
You don't get any FOMO from missing out on what's going at home. But yeah, I don't know.
Right. Yeah. At the time I was like, gosh, I'm a loner. I don't have any friends. But now I look back and I'm like, thank God I was a loner there. Thank God that I came out there alone, because I had made so many friends from all around the world. I had best friends that I had made throughout the course of the time there, from Mexico, from, what is it called? the Netherlands.
Yeah.
One of my best friends, who at the time she was going to UC Berkeley, and I met her there, and now she's one of my best friends. Poland.
3 bests right there. Heck yeah.
Yes. 3 bests. So it's the best.
If you're out there listening to this,
yeah.
you got a big shout out.
So, but pretty much when I went out there, I was telling my dad, oh God, I hope that I'm going to meet friends. You know, I just hope that I'm not going to be alone this whole time. And he's like, Tiffany, stop. Listen to yourself. Stop saying that. If you're a cool person, then you're going to make friends. So shut up.
I'm cool. Yes.
And I was like, okay,
cool.
You know what? I'm a good person. I'm cool. Like, I'm easy to get along with. Like, okay, I will. Let me just change this in my mind. Because a lot of our problems stem from our mindset and our mind.
Fear.
Yeah. Fear, unknown, like not, stepping out of the comfort zone.
What if?
Exactly. All of them.
You tell. A lot of fear.
So pretty much during my second week there going to school, I would take the train to my university. And then I just remember being alone there, but I was like, okay, I need to make friends, and I need to go outside of my comfort zone. So when I'd be on the train and I'd see young kids and they spoke English, like I knew that they weren't from Spain, but they were probably study abroad students, because that was just like a hub for study abroad in Madrid, where I was at, and we were all getting on the same train to go to the same university. Then I'd say, hey, where are you from? They'd be like, oh, I'm from Canada. Oh, I'm from Wisconsin. And then I'd be like, oh, you're studying abroad too? And then I would immediately find a connection. We're both study abroad students. Boom. Like, oh, hey, let's like exchange numbers, blah, blah, blah. Like make friends so easily, actually.
Building friendships made easy.
So important.
You're really good at these like masterclass hack things. Like that's it, guys. You just do that. I'm always trying to hack my way through life, like finesse everything. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I just slowly, little by little, like on the train would hear conversations, and I'd be like, wait, what happened? Wait, somebody got their phone stolen? And then I would just like...
Oh, tea in Spanish?
Exactly. So I would hear, conversations, and then I would just join in, and I'd be like, oh, I'm Tiffany. Oh, what's your names? And then that's how I made all my best friends there. And I just grew such a big community there. And then I'd go on like trips every weekend. And what was cool about where I was at in Madrid, Spain, it was a big international airport. So pretty much every other weekend, I was on the Skyscanner website looking for flights to cheap places. Skyscanners.
Love them.
Not sponsored. I love you, Skyscanner.
Skyscanner.
You're the best.
You can sponsor though.
you can. We can tell more about it.
He knows how to do viral stuff.
Yeah. So I was just basically like, okay, I'm in Spain, and then I would look in Skyscanner, like where to, and I would click like, I don't know where, and then I would just have all the cheap places that I could fly to. And this was during winter time when I was studying abroad. It was like January to spring, so like that Europe
Nobody
is not
really travels then.
Yeah, everyone goes during summer, so it was honestly really cheap. Like one of my flights from Madrid, Spain, to a different continent, Morocco, Africa. Guess how much my flight was? Just one way.
$15.
It was €9.
Oh
so yeah,
God.
like 10,
Okay.
11 bucks.
I knew it was going to be something astronomical.
Yeah, it was crazy. So
€9?
Yeah, so that's actually like a big hack of how I was able to travel very cheaply. And then one of my cheapest flights in Morocco, or one of my cheapest living accommodation was...
No, that's not what I know. Did you do hostels, or did you...
Yeah, I always did hostels because I was in college. I'm not going to spend like a lot of money on...
Meet the homies,
Yeah, that's how you meet your friends, everything.
Yeah.
So I remember my good friend who was studying at Berkeley, her name's Vivian. Vivian, I love you.
Shout out to Vivian.
So we stayed in Morocco at this hostel for, I think, €3. So it's like $4.
Oh my god.
Like less than $4.
Yeah,
so
exactly. You work 1 hour here in America, you can afford like 5 days in that hostel.
Oh yeah, for sure. So that's where my love for travel began, from studying abroad. And I think I went to like over 50 cities and maybe like 12 to 14 countries during my time there.
So this was between 4 months, you said? January to April?
The school was about like 4 months, but I did not want to come back and do an internship, and I was like, no, I don't want to come back.
It's not my journey.
Yeah, I was like, I want to just stay out here as long as I can. So I just stayed out there longer, just exploring around.
Do you think things are different now that you've like it's like a couple years have passed, you're a little different? Like, do you think you would do the same things that you did then, or where you just kind of had the freedom of doing it because you were more like,
yeah, I didn't have a job. I didn't have Shezza. Yeah, exactly. Now I have like 15 people asking me for things and emails and getting back to lawyers and this is that. So it was a lot different. And that's why I encourage, if anyone listening to this is a student, and just do a study abroad program, please. Like, no questions asked, just do it. It was the best experience of my life, and it taught me so much and allowed me to meet so many international friends and cool people from all over the world and even in America too.
There's nothing more flex than having friends from that are from different countries, I swear.
Oh yeah. And it's
just
cool.
My friend in Morocco.
What? Yeah.
That's
so
really cool.
It was just the coolest time ever. And that's where I was like, okay, I need to be traveling like this for the rest of my life, or like at least somewhat traveling, because it was just the coolest time of my life. But then after the study abroad experience, then I graduated, then I took a job in Puerto Rico, and I moved there for 8 months because that's where my company was based. So
the startup you mentioned?
Yeah, the startup. So I was working for them as an internship, and then I got a full-time job offer. And what's interesting is if you make a lot of money, you can move to Puerto Rico and you'll get taxed at like 3%, something like that, like something crazy like that, because they want to bring a lot of money and people and like rebuilding to Puerto Rico, because that's where they had a lot of hurricanes and things.
Yeah. Is it kind of like New Zealand where they have that travel visa, like 1 year travel visa, you can work over here type of thing?
Well, Puerto Rico is a territory, so it's technically the US. Right. So any US person can move there. I don't think you need a passport.
Don't come for me, guys. I knew that. I just forgot. Okay. My bad.
So that's why there's actually a lot of Americans living in Puerto Rico. Well, I mean, it's all America technically, but expats, I would say, living there. And that's what my boss was doing. 'Cause, I mean, he was originally from there, but then he moved back and reaped the tax benefit where he doesn't have to pay a lot in taxes, which is, I'm for sure want to do that in my future when I'm rich.
So jealous.
Yes.
Gosh, good for him. Man.
So then I moved to Puerto Rico for 8 months. And that was a really great experience, but it was a lot different than the US because you take a lot of things for granted, like Amazon, getting things in 1 or 2 days.
You don't have Amazon in Puerto Rico?
I mean, it would come in like a week and a half.
Oh,
yeah. Maybe it's gotten better in the last year or two.
Is this the 90s?
I know, you just get everything so fast, and things like even going to the grocery store, the lines would be super long. Sometimes I would wait in my grocery store line for 45 minutes.
Wait.
And I'm not even joking.
Is it like a bodega type of small grocery store? Or super center still?
Kind of, but it was just always like really busy, and like all of the store, like I feel like a lot of the people there, they're on island time, and they'll take their break, and they're like, I don't care if there's a big line, I'm taking my break. I'm just island vibing. So
like, I know half the people in that line. Is it a small town? Does it feel small town, or is it still like?
No, it feels like a city, because I was in San Juan, which is like the main city of Puerto Rico, and I'd say it's very built out, a lot of skyscrapers, and so
industrialized a little bit more.
So that was my time in Puerto Rico, which was great, and I explored all around. Puerto Rico is honestly really beautiful. Like some of the most beautiful beaches, I mean, are in the Caribbean, because the sand is like really white and soft, and the water is super clear, and there's just pretty much islands surrounded, so there's not a lot of pollution, things like that. And on the weekends I would surf, and I was just living a really cool island life. So if anyone can live an island life, my friend called me yesterday, and she's a flight attendant, and she was saying, I just put in my transfer to Honolulu, and I really hope I get it. I'm not too far down in the line. And I was like, oh my God, go for it. I think when you're young, you have to just go for these experiences. And I think it's so important too to also get outside of your comfort zone and your environment, which I applaud you, because you grew up in a small town in Washington, right?
Yeah, I did. Yakima. Shout out to Yakima.
And I think that's just so important to just go and explore what's out there.
And I think it kind of fuels like why the whole hearing about traveling is so exciting, because it's like, well, for 18 years, like we traveled, but like I didn't go to abroad for the first time until like I think I was like 19, 20, you know. So yeah, the obsession is real.
Yeah.
Something I was curious about though.
My nomading.
Yeah, well that too. But really quickly, is Puerto Rico's currency like exchange still US? Okay, got it. I needed to educate myself actually, guys.
I surprised you with
I
this
know
Puerto Rico.
because what I was gonna say is like on Honolulu, you get the island life. Gosh, it's so expensive because it's an island.
Right. Which Puerto Rico is getting more expensive, but it's still honestly cheaper than California.
Okay, that's good to know. Good to know.
Mm-hmm.
But and then how long? In what time periods did you do nomadic life? Because we were meeting up last year too, and I think you were traveling a bit. What did that count in your nomadic journey?
Honestly, last year, 2023, I traveled a ton. I don't know. I just wanted to be adventurous and be free, and I was like, gosh, I want to go somewhere cool. And you know, your dollar goes so much further in places like Latin America, Central America. And I was looking into Colombia because actually my family is Colombian too.
Oh, okay.
And I always wanted to get better at Spanish. And the city of Medellin specifically is really big for American expats. It's a beautiful city. They call it the city of eternal spring because the weather's just always pleasant year round.
Oh, pretty.
It's very lush, jungly, skyscrapers, and it's just like a cool kind of upcoming spot. And yeah, a lot of people are like, oh, but Colombia is not safe, this, that. But that was mostly in like the 70s, the 80s. Now it's totally different. Honestly, I felt safer in some parts of Medellin than I do in LA.
Yeah, were you alone at this time or was
I was with my boyfriend.
with Blake? Okay.
Yes. So what's cool about him is that he also has a fully remote job, so he can go with me everywhere. Yeah, which is awesome.
I'm so jealous of you guys and being able to do that. I think something that I admire the ton about, because like you're a busy girl, like you've been having Shezza. Were you still working at that time too, full time?
No, at that point I had quit my job and I was like, I was just about to get my inventory order and I was like, oh gosh, like this is before the like super crazy viral video that I got. But I just quit my job and I was like, hey guys, honestly, like I'm sorry, I know I've been slacking, but I just have a lot on my plate and we need to part ways. And so I just quit my job and I was like, okay, if this whole sock thing doesn't work out, then I'll just find another job like in January.
I'm a high value girl.
I was like, I'm gonna just work really hard. I'm just gonna work my ass off for the next like 3 to 4 months. If it doesn't work out, then at least I tried. Yeah. And like, I'll just get another job.
God bless you.
Yeah.
And now she has an office, guys.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Anyways, and so you were doing Shezza then at that time.
Yeah, so that was full-time Shezza. I actually wasn't paying myself at all though. Because I wanted to just put every single penny back into the business. And I wanted to put it into marketing. I have to pay for patents, like lawyer fees. I have a full-time employee. I have virtual assistants in the Philippines and like some interns that I pay. So I was like, I have a good amount of money that I can live off of, but I'm just gonna wait on paying myself. So I was just working full-time but unpaid. Now I'm paid.
You're happy now. She's getting paid.
Yes,
that was just a huge milestone too. So congratulations. Huge milestone. I feel like there's nothing more gratifying than being able to pay yourself something and you being able to pay other people too. Like you contribute to other people's lives as well, and
be a cool boss too. Like I'm sure we've all experienced times where we had a boss that we didn't like, or we didn't really feel hurt, like they didn't really hear us or understand us, and just being able to just be like very positive, have a good attitude, and share advice and life hacks and things with other people, teach a lot of interns and people other things,
like be yourself too is like a big one. Like you always have that division of like professionalism, and sometimes you have vulnerable things that you need to talk about, and it does apply to work, and being able to have somebody you can trust and relate to. I could imagine. Awesome. Lucky to have you. But and so what was really hard about being nomadic and still running Shezza from afar?
Right. So all last year I was nomadic. I decided, hey, I'm just gonna tell my roommates that I'm not coming back, and we'll just have to find somebody to get the room or rent my room. So I decided to just kind of pack up everything, completely moved everything back to my dad's house, and I was like, Dad, I'm just gonna keep this stuff here. I'm gonna leave it here, which I feel very lucky that I was able to do. And so I completely moved out of my room that I was renting, with my roommates. And Blake and I, we set off for Colombia, and we were there. We kind of explored all around Colombia too.
Because he's learning Spanish too, huh?
Yeah, he's actually really good.
Really?
Yeah, he's like blonde hair, blue eyes. But he's been practicing for like almost like 2 or 3 years. So he's actually better than me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all intertwined. Her boyfriend was the president of Entrepreneur Society my freshman year, and that's how I met him before I met Tiffany.
So yeah, we went to Colombia, and he's a big planner. I'm not really that much of a planner. Like, I'll plan the Airbnbs and like where I want to visit, but he goes like in depth. But I think that's part of his like computer science background, where he's super detail oriented about everything.
Would you say you're type B, he's type A? Or would you say you're still type A, or just more of like your planning is more just like more spontaneous?
I'm a little more spontaneous, a little more like chill. I'm like, okay, let's just plan this, and then when we get there, we'll ask the hotels, hostels, like things to do, and we'll plan stuff out. Whereas he's like, we have to do this, and then there's this. Like, he knows like everything about transportation, like what area, this, that, and
helps
like,
to have someone like that for sure.
Yeah, so it's good. Like, we definitely balance each other out a lot. But we basically went all around Colombia for about like almost 2 months.
Yeah, it's a good chunk of time.
Yeah, and then I had to come back to the US for some pitch competitions, because I was still entering through university pitch competitions, like in Texas. I think, yeah, I had to come back for I came back for 2. Yeah, for 2 in Texas. I feel like there's a lot of really good entrepreneurship programs and schools in Texas. Oh my god.
Oh really?
Yeah. So I had to come back after the 2 months for 2 pitch competitions. One was in Waco, Texas, which is I think near Austin.
Yeah, I think so. I know what you're talking about, though.
I think it's Austin.
Can someone comment below and tell us where?
Yeah, I think it's near Austin. So I had to come back for that pitch competition. I won like a small elevator prize award for that, and that was fun. And then I had another one in Houston, and went there, and it was like the first or second like richest business pitch competition in the US. And they gave away like so much money. It was crazy. We won still like a small prize, but we won something, which was awesome.
Tough. No, totally, because I was confused. I was like, wait, she's in this, because I would see your LinkedIn, and I've been like, wait, wasn't she just in like Latin America last week? Like, yeah. I see what was happening then. Yeah, you just kind of flying when you needed to.
So I went to the other pitch competition, and then that was in Houston, Texas. And then straight from Houston, Texas, I flew to Europe. And then I had like another like month and a half in Europe. So I flew from that pitch competition to France, to Paris. And then I went all around Italy, all around Spain. And then I decided, hey, like I want to just stay out here longer. And my friend was living off of an island in Africa. And I was like, Dominica, I'm going to come visit you. So then I went to the Canary Islands, which is actually owned by Spain. So everyone there speaks Spanish, but it's actually closer to Africa than Spain. And it's interesting because it stays really warm there all year round. So it's like a perfect paradise for European people that want to escape the cold in the winter.
Like little snowbirds.
Yeah, European so it's like a tourist island, but it was really cool. And then randomly her friend was in Morocco, kind of close to us because we're closer to Africa. And they were in Morocco celebrating a wedding, and they were like, oh, do you want to come? And then she was like, yeah. And she's like, Tiffany, send me your passport stuff. Do you want to go to Morocco? And I was like, wait, I just got here and I thought I was going to have like a peaceful time on this island. And then like 2 days later, we're in Morocco at this random person's wedding that we didn't even know. And it's like they rented a whole entire hotel.
You guys didn't know, or nobody knew?
We didn't know them personally. It's just my friend's friend.
Got it.
Was getting married, and then we just got invited, and they were so nice and welcoming, and we met cool people from LA, and I think they were Persian. And they're just like very like, oh, you're my friend, you're everybody's friend, and the family was super, super sweet. Then we were in Morocco, and then I went to Romania just because I wanted to check another country off my list, and I just wanted to check it out. Then after that, my friends, they had already planned a trip to Greece, and they were like, hey, do you want to just come along? I was like, yeah, I'll sleep on the floor, I'll sleep on the couch, I don't care.
I want to go to Greece, whatever you want me to go.
Yeah, so then I went to Greece, and I hung out with all of them, and luckily they had already planned this out like 6 months in advance, so I just kind of hopped in, and exactly, like, I would just have a makeshift bed if there wasn't room, or I'd sleep on the couch.
You're just a down girl.
Yeah, I just didn't care. I was like, I just want to go. I'm just gonna go. And then after Greece,
where'd you go in Greece?
We first went to Santorini, which is
beautiful.
We first went to Mykonos, and that was incredible. Santorini, and then we went to Athens, and honestly, their food is great.
I love
it's very
Athens.
fresh.
We went to Santorini in the winter. Well, we went to everything in winter. Me and my mom usually travel in the winter.
Oh, cool.
It is pretty cold at the time, but I loved Athens. Santorini was tough because it was off season. So there was probably like 5 people on the island.
Oh,
wow. Which is cool and whatever. There's like one restaurant open and we went to it every night. But Athens was freaking cool. So cool. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's so beautiful there. The water's so clear and clean, and it's just a cool place. And it's kind of similar climate to California. I feel like it's kind of Mediterranean.
I haven't experienced it in the summer, I would say. So I don't know. Not yet. I don't know yet.
Not yet.
But I want to live my Mamma Mia dream and go back.
Yeah, go back in the summer, and yeah, you could do that.
I definitely will. Did you find it hard to kind of balance work with the travels, or did you kind of find a way?
I found a way, because even though I was traveling, hopping around, this and that, other than like if I had to take flights somewhere, Monday through Friday, I was working. Like I would sit down and I would find a cool, cute coffee shop nearby or a co-working space, and I'd be like, okay, cool. Where am I going today? All right, I'm going to go to this Cafe Velvet. Like in Medellin, there was a coffee shop called Cafe Velvet, and they would make like these amazing drinks with like lots of whipped cream and like sprinkles and stuff. And so I would just go to cool coffee shops, co-working spaces, and I would work really hard. And sometimes I'd eat dinner, and then I'd work hard until like 10 p.m. And so even though I was abroad and exploring, I did most of the exploring on the weekend. So I wasn't just out here, I'm just traveling, but I have a business. Like it wasn't really like that. I was working like Monday through Friday.
Just in a different environment.
Yeah, which was really cool. And I feel so thankful that I have a really awesome employee, Nayeli, that she was able to, shout out to Nayeli, that she was able to kind of manage everything here in San Diego. And we had interns and people to help us pack orders that I didn't really need to be here. She kind of just held the fort down. And yeah, I was able to do this. And then after that, then I went to Panama too, and that was neat, and went back to Colombia, and that was the end of my nomadic life. But I traveled a majority of the year, and it was honestly great. So if anyone could get a remote job, remote work, just highly recommend it.
That's so exciting.
It's cool.
I learned so much from that. That helps a ton. And we are about to close this out. So if you have any questions for Tiffany, please reach out to her. But there's one last thing I wanted to ask you this, because it's not every day that you tell. By the way, afterwards we can talk about cutting, but I'm just gonna ask this. Is talking about the Swimsuit USA experience fine? Okay. I just want to know like a quick what was your favorite part about being a part of Swimsuit USA? I don't think I've met anyone else who's done that yet. So such a unique experience.
It was kind of a funny thing, because my friend Morgan, she was like, oh, I'm going to do this thing. You should do it too. And I was like, what is it? She's like, it's like a pageant competition. And then you get a lot of great photos of yourself too. And you get to meet a bunch, like 50 to 70 other cool women. And it's in Mexico, and it's kind of like just a really cool, fun experience. And I was like, that sounds cool. And I'm always down for everything. I'm like, honestly, send me the stuff. I think I'm kind of down.
On brand.
And it was even like too late to apply to this and whatever. But I just reached out to them, and I was like, hey, I know it's like past the deadline period, but could I maybe still come? And they were like, yeah, let me just get this info from you. And then they're like, okay, yeah, honestly, if you want to come, then you have to put this deposit down, and like we can make room for you, basically. And I was like, why not?
Sick.
Why not? So I went out there, met a lot of really cool, interesting, amazing women, a lot of influencers too, which was neat, and just cool to just see what their lives were like, because a lot of them they did pageants full time. They were influencers, they were models. So it was just definitely like a different crowd that I was like, wow, this is really cool.
Like, this is their hustle.
Yeah, this is their hustle, and they're really good at it. And a lot of the girls were super sweet too. And it was just a really, really cool experience. It took place near like Playa del Carmen, Tulum area, and it was an amazing week. Did a lot of photo shoots and things like that.
Do you mind what's like is it through sports, like who hosts it?
Swimsuit USA
is like a whole thing.
I think it's its own thing. So what's interesting is like Miss America and Miss California or whatever, like there are certain criteria such as like you can't have any tattoos, you can't be a mother, you can't be married, like some weird stuff. I didn't know that. I know, but Swimsuit USA, there's none of that. So there was people that were mothers, like mothers of like 2 or 3. They were like beautiful, like they were like the hottest ones there. Like I was like, why would they have this like silly thing, you can't be a mother? Sorry. Anyways. Well, okay, I feel like I read on this at one time and they were saying about like the travel schedule that comes after Miss America. They didn't want like kids involved. I don't know if that was a PR answer though. Right. Whoever did, if that was a PR answer, that's a good answer. But there was the like age limits and things, and for this specific contest there was none of that. So cool. I thought that it was cool. Oh, and there's certain height limits sometimes too, but there was none of that. Like I'm not super tall, I'm like barely 5'5", but I know for some of them it's like, oh, you have to be 5'8", and I don't know, I think that's kind of silly because it's 2024, you should accept everyone as they are. I
think we're all shrinking, by the way, too.
yeah but I think they actually, on one of the competitions or one of the pageants, they moved the age limit up, which I think was great. I think it was like 28 before, but now you can be over 28. So yeah, so young. I know, it's so young, it's silly.
Who's the oldest woman there, if you can think back at it?
Maybe like 40-ish.
That's pretty good.
Yeah I know.
Oh my gosh. Was there like, is 18 the requirement? I'm like assuming so. There wasn't like a hopefully that's 12-year-old. No, that'd be terrible. I was thinking like pageantry, like you seen USA, but I'm like, that's way different.
Yeah, and it's funny because I had only before this, my pageant experience was from when I was, I think maybe 5 or 6, because my mom wanted me to go in one.
Oh, I didn't know you were part of them.
Yeah, sure. I only did it once, and I was the biggest tomboy. Like I sometimes thought I was a boy. I would sag my pants and wear a backwards hat. So like, I don't know why my mom wanted to put me in this, but she's like, no, it'd be really good and fun. You have to wear a dress, and I was like, I don't want to wear a dress. And so I did this little pageant, and I honestly hated like every second of it. And when they asked me like to go on stage, and they're like, oh, what do you want to be, asking a 6-year-old what they want to be when they grow up. They don't even know what life is, like I don't know reality.
Alive.
Yeah, so they asked me that, and I just remember standing on stage being like, in my head, I don't know what I want to be, and it was just quiet for the entire time. And then they were like, Tiffany, say doctor. And then I was like, I want to be a doctor. And they're like,
sock founder
entrepreneur. Yeah, so then I said, I want to be a doctor, and they're like, good job. And then they just like kind of pushed me off the stage. But that was my pageant experience before this, so I don't know, it was just kind of funny going into the Swimsuit USA competition. And I was like, this is really cool. I like this a lot. I'd
be so curious what the answers would be now, because I feel like back then maybe like traditional roles were more traditional. Now it's like
girls are girl bosses now.
So many different things that women can do and people can do. You just never know what you're going to hear anymore when it comes to people, what they do for a living. Yeah. So exciting. But okay, this is closing out our episode. Thank you so much, Tiffany, for being here. How can people find you on the internet?
Yes. So if they want to find my business, everything is Shezza Socks, SHEZZA Socks, Shezza Socks on Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, YouTube. And then my personal is Tiffany Scarlett, my Instagram, TikTok. So Tiffany Scarlett.
Follow her travels, follow her business.
Yes. And that's one thing too, is I recently hired a virtual assistant to start posting all of my travel content, because I have so much, but I just have so little time to actually cut, edit, and post things. So this year, my main goal is to post all my travel content. So you'll be seeing a lot more travel tips on my personal Instagram. Tiffany Scarlett.
I can't wait. Oh, thank you so much, Tiffany. Yes. Anyway, so thank you all for listening up to this point. Don't forget to follow Tiffany on all of her platforms. Don't forget to follow Baddies Mean Business. We are on LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram. I don't know what we're not on. Honestly, probably like Twitter. But other than that, I post every Sunday, and then we also just launch merch. And so if you want to get some merch, 30% of the profits goes towards women's centers. And so you can find that in the link in bio, or the LinkedIn link in bio, or the YouTube bio. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll talk to you all next week.
Thank you.
Yay. Okay.